Hi, so I've seen a few videos around about people talking about their favourite books of 2015, and this seemed like an impossible task for me. As I read quite a lot of books, coming up with a big list of favourites is kind of what happens when you read that many. So instead of talking about my top 15 or top 10 or even top 5, I thought I would just talk about the books that stuck with me. And when I went through what I read last year, there were 3 books that really stuck to me, that were my favourites beyond any kind of question. These are not in any ranking, they're just what I loved the most from 2015. So here I am to show you. My first favourite that I'd like to talk about is one that is kind of popular this year and is on a lot of people's favourites list from 2015. That book is A Little Life by Hanya Yanagihara, and I have the UK Australian edition, which is, in my opinion, a little bit nicer than the American version. I have tabs kind of throughout it, but that doesn't even start to measure how much I love that book. I absolutely loved A Little Life, and I hardly recommend it because it is so emotional and so many things happen to these four people. Just the writing and the characters were beyond anything I'd ever read before. I knew these people, and I know this is a common comment for this book, but I knew them. I felt like I'd met them, that they were my friends, that I had lived their life with them, which is probably why the book is so emotional, because you can't help but get caught up in their lives and feel for them and know exactly what they're going through. And I think that's what made that book amazing, because it's more than just seeing someone's life, it's being a part of it, and all the kind of things that these boys go through, especially Jude, is just, sometimes it's awful, but other times it's beautiful. And I think the lasting impression that the book gives is how powerful friendship can be, sometimes even over love. Friendship is always there. And I think that that's the kind of message that the book wanted to give, and it's a reassuring one. And Jude and Willem's relationship, their friendship, is, it just made me happy to read about, and I loved being a part of that. And although it's not a book that I feel like I could return to soon enough, but it is definitely one that will remain a favourite for a really long time. I personally fell in love with it straight away. It is an amazing, amazing book, and yeah. The next one of my favourites is one that I actually read quite recently. I read it in December, and I have spent the last month wanting to pick it back up because of how much I loved it. I think I could probably just read it and reread it on repeat. That's how much I loved it. And that book is Illuminated by Jay Kristoff and Amy Kaufman. I loved it. I loved it so much. I love the writing style. There's reports and blackout pages, and there's a scene where she's jumping outside the spaceship like this, and the text goes over like that, so you feel like you're part of it. So it's a weird format, but it works, and I have read other books that have quirky formats, but this is the best visualization of that I've ever seen, and I didn't know what to expect going into this, and I was pleasantly surprised. There was so much more in it than I thought. So it's not just a space opera, there's not just explosions, but there's conspiracy theories, there's a corporate war going on, and to top it off, there's an infectious disease going around the ships, which is causing zombie-like symptoms. This book is intense from the first page, and that's what I loved about it. It was a book that I couldn't put down, that I found myself just gripping the pages and wanting to find out what happened next. I haven't felt excitement like that in a book for a really long time. I honestly felt like I was reading a movie. It was just so intense. I absolutely loved it. I loved the feelings it gave me. It was just a wild ride, and I loved every second of it. My favorite part of it is probably the AI, the evil AI. This was my favorite part. The machine, has such an amazing character, and I would just reread it just for the AI. I love homicidal AIs, obviously. It is a weird one, but a good one, and I am dying for the next one. Absolutely need it. Now, the final book on my favorites is one that I haven't heard anyone talk about. It is a hidden one, and I picked it up at a bookstore based on recommendation, and I fell in love, and I will not stop shoving this book in people's faces, even if they have already heard me talk about it before. But this is probably the one that has stuck with me the most. I read it about 2 or 3 months ago, and I just can't stop thinking about it. It is beautiful. It is beautiful. And the book is called Beauty is a Wound by Ika Kurniawan. And this is translated from Indonesian and is set in Indonesia. And I think that's what made it special for me. It was from a culture I'd never read about before, and it follows one person. Her name is Dewi Ayu, and she is a prostitute, and it follows her life and her family's lives in their village throughout history. Includes resistance and war and political changes, and it doesn't read like historical fiction. It reads more like fables, because the book is interlapping stories of every person that comes in contact with the family and all their grandparents and children. It just kind of comes together to create a masterpiece. It is technically magical realism, because the beginning of the book starts off with Dewi Ayu waking up from the dead after being dead for 20 years and trying to piece together what remains of her family. And it is delectable. It is amazing. The writing is unlike any I've ever seen before, and I think that's what grabbed me immediately. It has a ridiculous sense of humour, which is serious yet fun, and I could find myself smiling at odd moments all throughout the book. It liked to make fun of itself in a way, and I loved every bit of it. I recommend it for people who enjoy learning about new cultures, because I definitely felt like I learned more about Indonesia and its cultures, because a lot of the stories were inspired by local folk tales, and I just really got into it. I just hope more people read it, because it is absolutely fantastic. Well, that's my all-time favourites of 2015. Those are just the 3 that really hit me, and there were plenty more that I loved, and I could make 10 videos on those books, and I know this video is already going long enough, just talking about 3. Those were my top books of 2015. Thanks for watching, and happy reading. Bye!